Hey there, record heads. Make sure to check out bagsunlimited.com for your vinyl record supplies. Bagsunlimited.com supplies record stores and collectors around the world with protective sleeves, archival storage supplies, record storage boxes, protective vinyl shipping mailers, and tons of other durable solutions that'll keep your records safe for years. Just go to bagsunlimited.com and check out their audio and record supplies. That's bagsunlimited.com.
And now, on with the show. Welcome to The Vinyl Guide, the podcast for record collectors and music nerds. Here's your host, the biggest record nerd of them all, Nate Goyer.
Well, hello, everyone. It's Nate. Welcome to episode 469 of The Vinyl Guide, the podcast for record collectors and music nerds. And ladies and gentlemen, this week we are thrilled, absolutely thrilled, to have Cook Craig on the show. Now, you all may know Cookie from King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard and the Murlocs. And with those two highly prolific and regularly touring bands, Cook still has time for his solo project, Pipe-Eye. And today he's going to talk all about the new Pipe-Eye album, Pipe Defy. It's coming out October 18th. There's a few songs on streaming services now, a couple of videos, and of course you could pre-order the vinyl at pdoomrecords.com. P-Doom, of course, the imprint that the King Giz camp runs to produce records for themselves and artists they enjoy. So Cookie talks all about that today. He also talks about King Gizzard and the Bootleg series, the story of Polygon-A-Wanna-Land and the impacts of the gift economy. We discuss his approach to remembering dozens of songs for live performance, the early recordings from Revolver Sun, the Angelsea EP, and lots more. You know, Cookie doesn't do too many interviews, so we are absolutely proud to host him today here on the Vinyl Guide podcast. And hey, if you like this episode, make sure to follow our podcast in your podcast app. We have a ton of other episodes you'll enjoy, including King Gizzard and Murlocs bandmate Ambrose Kenny Smith joined us episode 325 of the Vinyl Guide. Episode 331 with OC's Maniac and Castleface Records founder John Dwyer. That's episode 331. Episode 301, we had Amel and the Sniffers, all members talking early and collectible releases of the band. Billy Gibbons of ZZ Top joined us episode 293, and lots more, literally hundreds more. The Vinyl Guide is free to follow in your podcast app. You could listen anytime. For a commercial-free and high-resolution experience, join our Patreon Legends Club at patreon.com/vinylguide. Alrighty, ready to hear from Cook Craig on the Pipe-Eye LP and more? Well, let's get into the interview.
There it is.
Hey, there we are.
Hey, what's up?
So let me ask you this. What do you prefer to be called? Cookie, Cook Craig, Cookster?
I think Cookie, because it's cute.
Very good. Well, mate, thanks for making the time, and very excited to have you on the show. I don't know if you're too familiar with our show, but we talk a lot of records, collectibles, and of course, we've got a global audience of folks who really appreciate what you and, of course, your bandmates and your various projects are doing these days.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. It's all very vinyl centric as well, I guess.
It is. Are you a bit of a vinyl head? Do you? Is that something that kind of resonates with you?
I've kind of like tapered off like recently. I feel like 5 years ago I was like really into it, and I've got a pretty big collection from then. I would like buy records on tour because it was just like a fun thing to do when you were like bored.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, you just needed to like kill some time. So you'd always go to like a record shop. But I think I just got sick of carrying them around on tour because they're pretty heavy and they take up a lot of space. So it's, yeah.
And I would imagine
I still love it.
I would imagine you guys, with all the touring you're doing, you don't have a whole lot of time to sit at home in front of the stereo.
No. Like I feel like lots of people think we tour like constantly, but I feel like overseas, we're probably only overseas like 3 to 4 months of the year.
Oh,
So,
okay.
you know, it's all a grand illusion. But yeah, like for instance, we're about to go back to the States and do like 3 weeks there. But then after that, we've got like almost like 5 months off.
Oh, okay. All right.
Just for like recording, rehearsing, Christmas.
Yeah, that makes sense. Catching up with everyone. Well, you don't want to miss a summer in Australia. That's yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, and it's kind of like because our summers like during like Christmas and stuff. It's kind of like a whole deal, you know. It's
Hmm.
like the best time of year because it's very festive, but the weather's good. You get the best of both worlds.
I like telling my former countrymen they got to come down to see Santa Claus in board shorts.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So this new album, Pipe Defy, with the project Pipe-Eye, do you tour at all? Will there be live gigs, or is this purely studio?
I never have toured, so at this stage it's purely studio. It's always been a challenge. Like I feel like I'd like to do it one day, but with like King Gizzard, and then I play in the Murlocs as well. Like I just don't even know how I'd get the time to like get a band together, and then I'd have to learn all the songs myself because I just like kind of record them and write them, but then just completely forget them. It'd be a very big undertaking at the moment, but maybe one day.
Because that astonishes me about, and especially with King Gizzard, yeah, you are in these two bands that are very prolific. And I remember during COVID times, this didn't happen, but in Sydney here, you guys were scheduled to do 6 days, different set lists, different songs on each day. That's like 80, 90 songs. How do you have difficulty keeping all them in your head?
I feel like we've just been a band so long, and it's just the way we approach them is like that. Like we're not trying to like nail every single part exactly like the recording, and that's kind of the key to it. I think it's like you know the song so well because you've been playing it for years, but you don't have to like completely remember every single guitar part. You kind of just you get good at just you know playing it without nailing it, but the vibe is there, which can be chaotic sometimes, but most of the time it like pays off really well. And you'll kind of just play like an iteration of a song that is kind of like just unique and sometimes better than the original, you
Hmm.
know.
What's the hardest song to play live?
Um, Weirdly, sometimes it's like some of the older ones that are like some of the Polygon Land stuff is pretty hard because that's some stuff like that, you actually do have to play all the parts exactly like they are.
Hmm.
Same with like a lot of like the metal kind of catalog and stuff. Like they're not really jammy and they've all got very specific parts that you kind of need to do. But yeah, I would say like the Polygon stuff. Like,
Okay. All right.
yeah,
So the
probably.
Polygon and Infest Rat's Nest, those are the ones you have to practice more than the others.
Yeah, on Nonagon. Nonagon's actually like some of those songs are like pretty hard because there's lots of little parts and it's not like, the structures aren't super obvious. It's not like verse, chorus, verse, chorus. Like there's like heaps of little bridges and like time signature changes and just crap like that that just kind of makes it not that easy to remember.
How about the microtonal stuff? Like when you start experimenting with microtonal, are those like exponentially harder than the 12 tone songs?
Um, Not really,
Hmm.
because once you kind of learn the microtonal stuff and like the scales, it kind of just end up being like normal songs. You know,
Hmm.
it's just kind of getting over that initial hump of, yeah, I don't know, like learning how that music is supposed to sound and like what notes you can and can't play. And then it kind of just, it becomes like anything else.
Hmm. Okay. Because it's like 3 or 4 times the number of potential notes and the number of potential
Yeah.
mistakes goes along with it.
Yeah. Well, because the notes are so close. If you play a wrong one, it doesn't sound as bad, you know?
Well, I love the fact that you guys have themes in the different records. Now, with Pipe-Eye, do you have themes like, dream themes, Inside Out, the new one? Is there a kind of a reoccurring theme throughout it?
I don't know if you'd call them themes. I feel like they're definitely all different and they've kind of got their own characteristics and they've kind of got their own like place sonically. Like Dream Themes actually had a theme, as you could probably tell from the name, because it was
Hmm.
like meant to be like it was instrumental and then each song was kind of like it was like a commercial for a TV show or like an intro song for like a TV show. That was kind of like the theory. behind it. But all the other ones they're not necessarily like themed, but they've definitely got their own unique sound. Yeah.
Like when you start with something like Dream Themes, there's the thread that kind of brings each song together and kind of maybe informs how it's written and played. Is it, you start with that, I assume, and then start to work backwards from that?
I feel like that one I definitely did. This new one, Pipe-Eye, less so. I kind of just wrote a bunch of songs that were more just kind of influenced by the style of music that I wanted to make, as opposed to kind of like, like a storyline or like a common thread.
Yeah, it's very kind of funky, kind of very. I hear Herbie Hancock in there. I hear some.
Yeah, definitely
like that.
Well, yeah, I was kind of like listening to a lot of like Herbie Hancock when he kind of started to go funky, and like funky kind of Stevie Wonder, and like just like a lot of that like late 70s, early 80s kind of stuff, like Zap, and like just those kind of like that early electronic kind of funk kind of music of that time. That's definitely like a huge influence on it. Yeah.
Yeah. Bit of vocoder here and there, that kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Like that's heavily influenced by Zap. Yeah, I feel like if I do another record that's kind of in this vein, I'll definitely get more into like vocoder and that kind of thing.
Are you pretty clear when you're writing a song that it's going to be for Pipe-Eye or for Murloc or something you'll bring to King Giz?
Kind of depends. Like often I'll just write songs for the sake of writing songs. Like for this album, I definitely just wrote a bunch of songs. Like I wrote like almost like over 20 songs for it. And I was like, I'm writing songs for an album that I want to be a Pipe-Eye album. But then a couple of them that I'd written for this didn't really like fit like the kind of like style that I wanted the album to be. So then, yeah, a couple of them I like threw at King Giz. Actually, probably around the time we were recording like B741. I feel like, yeah, a couple of them ended up on that.
Okay.
But yeah, like often, yeah, I'll just like write songs for the sake of writing songs, and then I'll kind of just put them in like a back catalog. And when like one of those bands is like making an album and it gets thrown out like, oh, does anyone have any demos or like song ideas? I'll just like throw them out that way.
So does the process like with King Gizzard or Murlocs, does it start with like, what do you guys have? Or does it start with, hey, I've got an idea about, let's make every song 10 minutes and 10 seconds, like a theme or a stunt almost?
Yeah, it depends from album to album. Like I feel like, yeah, it just depends on the album. Like, cause for instance, like B741 was like really songy songs. That kind of lent itself to people bringing in like song ideas or demos, but for like, like, I don't know, like some of the more like conceptual kind of albums, like Quarters or something, that was just like all these songs have to be written in this way for this purpose.
That must be a strange pitch. What is it? Does it start with Stu? He says, okay, I got this idea. Are you guys sitting down? Here's my thoughts. Is it kind of like that?
Yeah, kind of. And like, I don't know, I feel like some albums are more like kind of like collaborative and some are more like Stu focused, and it just depends. Murlocs is very like, just like straight up, like pretty much everyone will just come to the table, like all 5 members with like a couple songs each, and that's just what the album ends up being like.
Mm-hmm. What does the moniker Pipe-Eye, where did that come from?
It's actually from when I was in like high school. I had like a MySpace page, and I was just like making like pretty much like I'm doing exactly now. I was just making like recordings and just like putting them on this MySpace page. I only would have been like 15, 16 at the time. And yeah, I can't actually like remember where it came from. I just felt like I liked the way the word sounded, kind of like just like kind of rolled off the tongue.
Mm-hmm.
And the music was kind of like real like 60s kind of like garage psych. So it kind of just fitted that kind of like ethos. That kind of aesthetic, I guess.
Yeah. Now, is that was kind of what you were listening to as a youngling? Like, what was young Cookie's record collection like?
Oh, I was like very heavily, as were like all my friends for some reason, like in Geelong, the city we grew up in, everyone was just obsessed with like 60s garage, like Nuggets and like Pebbles and like all those like comps and like just like Back from the Grave and like shit like that. For
Mm-hmm.
some reason, that was just like really popular for like a couple of years, and everyone was like dressing like real like 60s mod kind of vibe. It's actually like real funny to think back on. But yeah, that's kind of the stuff I was into.
Was that just a Geelong thing, or was it Melbourne, or was it wider? Was it wider than that?
I feel like some people in Melbourne were into that shit, but for some reason Geelong was just like that was it. That was like what was really popular. There was like other stuff as well, obviously, but like that had like a really strong scene.
So you were doing stuff on MySpace as Pipe-Eye. How did you connect with Stu? How did you get to? I guess the first project you guys did was Revolver Sun. Is that right?
Yeah, that was like our high school band. So that was like me and Stu and a couple other guys, Fraser and Monty. And yeah, it was just like classic like 16-year-old high school band. And that was on the same kind of page as that kind of 60s garage kind of vibe, like
Mm-hmm.
blues, like R&B kind of stuff. And yeah, we just met, like we went to the same high school. He was like the year above me, but kind of started out playing with like Monty and Fraser, and then we like, oh, we need like a guitarist, and like Stu was like the guy at high school who was like the like shredder guitarist who was like a bit more like advanced than everyone else. So we're like, yeah, let's get this guy in, and then yeah, we got him in. Like I already knew him before then, but yeah, we got him in the band, and then yeah, like the rest is history.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and like King Giz didn't really start till like after we'd finished high school. But
Yeah.
yeah, that was a good like 4 years that like Revolver and Sun was like a band, I guess.
There was a pre-release CD. I think there was some 50 copies of it made, a set of recordings from Revolver and Sun. Do you recall that CD?
Yeah, yeah, I've still got it. I've got like a few copies.
Oh wow.
Um,
Okay.
yeah, we just burnt them by hand on like a CD burner, I guess, like on your like
Mhm.
old school computer.
Your
And then we
old
kind of
Dell
like
desktop.
yeah, exactly. And then we just like hand stamped every single one and like hand drew like a thing on every single one and just sold them at the local pub.
That's one of the few early recordings that has not been reissued since. Have you guys discussed that? Sharing it before?
No, I don't think so. That's too crap.
Yeah. Fair enough. Fair enough. Stu can't seem to remember if you were on the Angelsea EP. Did you play on that?
Um, I think I did. Yeah, I definitely did because I remember like recording it. I think I played like a bit of guitar on it and stuff. There was, I was definitely on Anglesey EP, but then there was like another two singles that were released, like Sleep slash Summer.
Mm.
Feel like I didn't play on those ones because Giz was around for a little bit before me and Ambrose joined. I think I joined and then like maybe like a few months later, Ambrose joined, and then that was kind of like the final lineup after that.
Right, right. Was it King Gizzard when you joined, or was there a different name?
I feel like for a little bit at the start, it was called Sea of Trees or something, and then which later became a Gizzard song. But yeah, and then it became King Gizzard. Maybe like
Mm.
yeah, like 3 or 6 months after that.
Okay. And when you first heard the name King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard, what was your initial response? Do you recall?
I can't remember. I probably thought it was silly, but then again, we were only like 19 or 20.
You took another bong hit and went, yeah, that'll do.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Many bongs back then, not anymore.
Your secret's safe with me. Okay. So at what point did you realize, oh my God, I'm going to make a living? I could very well make a living as a musician. I could follow my art muse. What was that point?
I don't know, probably like 6 months ago. Nah, not that long ago. Like, like was kind of like making a living out of it. I've definitely been making a living out of it for like, like 5 years or something.
Mm-hmm.
Probably since around like 2016. But even then, just still like scraping through, kind of having to get odd jobs when we'd come back from tours and that kind of thing.
Really?
Which,
I mean, even as late as the last 5 years ago, just before COVID, you guys were still kind of...
maybe not. Like probably up until like about 2016.
Okay.
I was still like working at bars and crap like that, which is a fair while ago now. But yeah, feel very privileged to be able to, just make music and make a living out of it.
Yeah. Oh,
and hopefully continue to do so.
Well, the great thing is about King Gizzard is just the amount of output that you guys have, but it's also you keep the quality high, and it's a bit of a mystery as to how that happens. Do you have any insight on how you guys, like for instance, in 2017, you guys did 5 records with King Gizzard, 2 with Murlocs, and I think there may have been a Pipe-Eye in there. So how do you keep the quality so high?
I think the secret is to just not care too much, which sounds stupid, but yeah, I feel like as soon as you start overthinking like making albums and writing songs and stuff like that, you kind of like you just lose that initial magic for a lot of things. Mm-hmm. I feel like that's always been the secret to King Giz, is like nothing just ever too like overthought, or it's just kind of like, let's make this album and just move on to the next thing. And when you do that, you get like a lot better, a lot quicker, because you are making so many albums and you're writing so many songs. So you inherently just kind of get really good at, writing songs, recording, making albums, putting out albums, like, because you've done it like 20 times. Mm-hmm. Whereas like most bands have only done it like 2 or 3 times.
Okay. Because, for example, something like in 2017, you guys did those 5 records. Did you know that was going to be the plan for 2017, or did it just happen that way? You guys just got on a roll?
No, it happened that, we'd planned that. Maybe not like at the start of the year, we were like, let's make 5 records. But maybe after like the first or second one that we'd made, we were like, let's just try and do 5 this year.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it got pretty close. I feel like Oddments was the last one, and like
Gumboot Soup, I think, was released.
Sorry, not Oddments. Gumboot Soup, and we just scraped that in.
And something like Polygon to Wonderland, that was a free LP. What was the conversation like in the band that, hey guys, this is one we're just going to give away. It's going to be an experiment. What was that conversation? Hey there, audiophiles. If you're seeking stylish furniture to showcase your stereo and record collection, well, look no further than SidetrackedWorkshop.com. Sidetracked Workshop designs extraordinarily elegant record cabinets and consoles that add sophistication and panache to your music hobby. Handcrafted in the good old USA in the vinyl-loving city of Portland, Oregon, Sidetracked Workshop's designs are a music lover's dream. Made with real walnut veneered wood and brass accents, these gorgeous designs add class and taste to the record room and ship fully assembled and ready to enjoy. Just check out the designs for yourself at SidetrackedWorkshop.com. Look, you spend thousands of dollars on records. Don't keep them in a crate, and don't risk your records on those feeble wooden pegs from IKEA. Your music deserves the dignity of Sidetracked Workshop. That's SidetrackedWorkshop.com. Elegant solutions for the vinyl lifestyle. Oh, and hey, record nerds, don't forget to clean your records with the very best and safest record cleaner, the Groove Washer. Make your records look and sound their very best, and store them with confidence using the new Groove Washer Groove Guard record sleeves. You gotta try this out. It makes a huge difference to the quality of your vinyl experience. Ask for the Groove Washer by name at your local record store and accept no substitutes. Or head over to groovewasher.com and use discount code VINYLGUIDE10.
All hail the Groove Washer.
That's groovewasher.com, discount code VINYLGUIDE10.
10.
Hey there, all you record nerds. I want to tell you about bagsunlimited.com. Bagsunlimited.com has a huge selection of vinyl record supplies. Whether you collect LPs, 7-inch singles, 78 shellacs, or anything in between, bagsunlimited.com will sort you out. From polyline sleeves to cardboard record mailers to 7-inch storage boxes and archive quality record sleeves, protect your records of any size and shape at bagsunlimited.com. Whether you have a small personal record collection or you're running a massive record shop, you can grab a small supply or even buy in bulk at bagsunlimited.com. And they've got some really incredible, unique stuff. Bagsunlimited.com even has special size sleeves made especially to protect your box sets, storage boxes and sleeves for cassette tapes, protective supplies for reel-to-reel, and yes, even 8-tracks. Just go to bagsunlimited.com, click on audio supplies, and prepare to be impressed by all the options they have. That's bagsunlimited.com. Something like Polygon to Wonderland, that was a free LP. What was the conversation like in the band that, hey guys, this is one we're just going to give away. It's going to be an experiment. What was that conversation?
I feel like a couple of them, or like a couple of us, just kind of thought it would be a cool idea and then just posed it to the rest of the band. Maybe Stu came up with the concept or something. But it was kind of just like everyone was kind of cool with it because it was kind of before, like, you know, it's not like we were making much money from records anyway. So it's kind of like, oh, this is just like a cool thing to do. And we're making 5 records this year anyway. So, like, who gives a shit?
Right.
And it's kind of created a cool culture around bootlegging. And I feel like that was like the purpose of it, is to kind of like kickstart like a bootlegging kind of community, and yeah, just do that, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we recently had John Flansburgh of They Might Be Giants on the show, and
true.
They had a similar experience. They would give away their songs, but they would do it on a answering machine. People would have to call a number, and every day they would get a new song. But he said it's the gift economy, and
yeah,
which is very much akin to what you guys were doing. But to give away Polygon Wonderland, which is a phenomenal record, it really seemed to ratchet up the band, not only in terms of popularity, but also just the nature of the fans, making it a beloved band.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, it's like that, like the gift economy, like it's kind of like people are just like promoting your record almost for you and like putting it out for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't make money directly off that record. Not that really matters, but like, I don't know, it just all comes out in the wash anyway, because it kind of builds popularity. It's like self-seeding almost.
Yeah. There was a guy who does, he runs Romanus Records. I don't know if you're familiar with him. He does a lot of amazing pressings. And he told me, I mean, he almost got choked up thinking about it, because that record allowed him to start his company and to pay for his child's surgery. And,
yeah.
Yeah,
so, that's crazy. You hear shit like that and you're just like, that's so like positive, and like not many bands can kind of have an experience like that, because yeah, like how would you, like,
Yeah. Well, it's a tremendous, it's a bit of a risk. I mean, you take something you worked a lot on, you record it. It's not free to record it generally. There's effort and time in it. But then just to give it the world and see what happens, that's pretty incredible. What are some of the more impressive bootlegger products you've seen?
I don't know. I've like seen so many now. Like some of like the live album ones are like really cool. Yeah, I don't really know any like specific ones in general, but like, yeah, I don't know, like, because we get given like, like 2 or 3 every show. Someone will like bring them, or like, and we'll just have a look at them backstage and stuff. And yeah, some of them are crazy. Some of them not so much, but like, yeah, I can't really name any specific ones. But in general, they're all pretty good. And like, you can tell people try really hard when they do it, and they put a lot into it, which is sick.
Is there a vault or a place where because if you're going to be a bootlegger, part of the deal is you have to send a few to the band. Where do you guys keep them all?
Yeah.
Where are they stored? Don't give me an address, but I mean, is there a location that they're all in?
Well, we've got like a guy, Dave, who's kind of like doing like archiving kind of work for us now.
Mm-hmm.
And he's in the States, but I think he's got a bunch at his like house in Jersey, maybe.
You said Jersey with a Jersey accent.
Did I?
Yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I've been picking up the colloquialisms.
You have been over there. Pretty soon you're gonna stop saying mate and start saying dude.
Yeah, yeah. I do say dude when I'm in America. It sounds weird when you say mate to people. Yeah.
It took me about 10 years to kind of to cross that chasm, to go from dude to mate. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
So you've got like a warehouse or someone who kind of does that kind of collecting and make sure that
they are somewhere. Yeah.
They're somewhere. Okay. How about the tapes? Like all the King Giz tapes, the master tapes, the multi-track tapes, are all those accounted for?
Like you mean from recordings and stuff?
Yeah.
We've got like all the original, like everything we've done. Like everything we've done to tape ourselves might have been taped over to make another record. But like all like the stuff from like early stuff we did at Daptone, like Quarters and Nonagon and like Mind Fuzz. I'm pretty sure we've got those tapes. They're just sitting in like a cabinet at the studio.
Okay. So you're serious? You did tape over some of the earlier recordings?
I feel so. Yeah, like we've got like an eight track reel to reel at our studio, but it's not like we're buying like new tape every time we record something. Pretty sure Stu just like goes over the top.
Oh boy.
Which is pretty funny. Yeah.
A few listeners just died of a heart attack right there.
Yeah. Yeah, we're not precious.
Which albums did you record at Daptone?
Mind Fuzz, Quarters, and like some of Nonagon, but not all of it.
Okay.
And like some of those we did bits and pieces at other places. Yeah, I think it was those three.
Okay.
Because at that time we were kind of like touring in the States, but we kind of based ourselves out of upstate New York for like a month. So it was around that time, there was like 2 or 3 tours where we were just hitting the East Coast hard and just kind of like, yeah, almost living out of New York, but like hitting different spots and different tours.
Okay. Do you guys still record while you're on the road? Do you still take breaks to record, or you mainly wait till you get home?
Kind of wait till we get home these days because we got our own studio and stuff, so it kind of makes sense to do that. We do like mix albums and like do overdubs and stuff on the road. Like, you know, sometimes people will do like vocals and that kind of thing in their like hotel rooms and stuff like that. Yeah, it's kind of getting harder because the shows are so long and like strenuous. Everyone's like pretty tired on tour these days. So like, yeah, it's just hard to like dedicate time and energy when you're just thinking more about the shows, which I think is fine as well.
Mm-hmm.
Just getting older and more mature and more tired.
Yeah, and some members are starting to get families, so other interests start to come in and that sort of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone's thinking about their kids at home.
FaceTiming with the dog.
Yeah, exactly.
So when you guys typically go in, I don't know if it's changed between now and the early days, but do you overwrite? Like you mentioned Pipe-Eye, you had 20 songs, you pared it down to the 10 or 11 that are on this release. Is that pretty typical a motion that you guys do?
Yeah. I feel like we very, very rarely write an album that's just, you know, like 12 songs and we use all 12 songs. There's always like B-sides or like cuts. I feel like you kind of have to do that because then you just kind of end up with a couple songs that are just pretty poo-poo.
Yeah. The clunkers.
Yeah, exactly.
So I imagine there's a lot of unreleased material for Pipe-Eye, for King Giz, for Murlocs, but stuff that you guys would think is probably wouldn't make the cut, probably subpar in your opinion. Yeah,
and like a lot of that stuff's been on like King Giz bootlegs. I feel like Murlocs has like heaps of cut songs Murlocs could probably like release like a couple albums of just like cut songs, And Pipe-Eye, I've probably got like 50 songs that I've written that I've just never used for anything.
Hmm.
Not like fully fleshed songs, but just like ideas and demos and like song structures and crap like that.
Right. And how do you capture those when you're on the road? You get the muse of a song. How do you grab it before it goes?
I like write a lot of songs on like GarageBand on my phone, like the app, like a little recording like app.
Mhm.
Just to like remember like chord progressions and song ideas like that. And then like when I get home and I like want to write a song out of that idea, I'll kind of just like redo it properly, like in a studio or at my home studio.
Because Pipe Defy, to me, to my ears anyway, it sounds a bit cleaner than some of the other recordings. Inside, outside, laugh about life. They seem a little bit, well, I guess lo-fi may be a term. Yeah, not to be
definitely.
used pejoratively, but the new one, Pipe Defy, seems a little bit more schmick. Right? Am I hearing things, or is that how you
No,
see it too?
that was definitely the point. It was like, yeah, I just wanted to go for like a more like kind of clean hi-fi, like ultra like stereo kind of sound. Um, and like Joey from King Giz, he kind of like mixed it and like produced it a bit. He kind of like nailed that pretty well
Mhm.
without it sounding like crazy clean. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to steer away from the lo-fi vibe.
Mhm.
I feel like I've been doing that for like years and years, and I've kind of just matured a bit, maybe.
Yeah.
I'm not 16 and it's not 1965 anymore.
If you got a nice stereo, you'll definitely be able to hear the difference in the crispness.
Yeah, 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 true.
Do you ever guess on other projects?
Nah, I feel like I never actually have. Well, I feel like no one's ever like actually asked me. Yeah, I guess because I'm in Giz, Murlocs, and then I do Pipe-Eye as well. Feel like I'm just my own guest a lot of the time.
He's too busy. He's never in town. We can't get
Yeah,
him
yeah,
down.
yeah, maybe but yeah, no one's ever really asked me. Hey,
So, Cosmic Blip. When you first recorded that, this is going back 2015, probably recorded in 2014. What was your
yeah, yeah.
intention? What was that? What were you thinking would happen with Cosmic Blip?
Actually, because I was studying at uni at the time, and I was doing like fine art, like sound art.
Hmm.
Yeah, I was kind of like I just needed to do some recordings for like a school project, and then yeah, I like recorded like 4 songs, and then it was just like, oh, this could be like a little EP because I hadn't done Pipe-Eye stuff since like I was talking about before, since like high school.
Hmm.
So yeah, it'd been a good like 4 or 5 years since I'd like ever like put anything on the internet or anything. And then Eric was starting Flightless at the time, and he's like, "Oh, you should like put it out, and we'll like do it on Flightless and stuff." So then yeah, I just got it together and got Stu to mix it, and then put it out.
Yeah, your earlier records that were on Flightless, those had been reissued for a while. Those were super collectible. Like,
Yeah, it took like years to reissue them, but I'm glad I did because yeah, a lot of people just never got a chance to buy them, or it was like a lot of Americans who wanted to get their hands on them but couldn't because they were all in like Australia and that kind of thing.
hmm.
I'm glad I did that. I'm gonna keep trying to reissue them. Might have to do like a 10-year anniversary for Cosmic Blip next year or
Ooh,
something.
it's coming up. Yeah, that's right.
Which is crazy to think about 10 years.
Hmm. You guys still have a good relationship with Eric and Flightless? Is that still
Yeah,
is
yeah,
still a good mate?
definitely. Yeah. Well, he's stopped doing Flightless now. But yeah, that's all sweet.
Good. Okay. Because the new record's on P Doom, and that is I guess it was Gizverse, and then it went to P Doom. Why the change there?
I feel like because we made Gizverse to just put out King Giz records,
Hmm.
but then we kind of realized like, oh, maybe we could like expand it a bit and make it a bit more of like a proper label and then put out Friends bands and like side projects that people are like working on, you know.
Right.
So it was just kind of like a natural evolution, I guess. But yeah, we're pumped on it. It's good to like just help your friends and like kind of build like a little community and that kind of thing, you know.
And the term P-doom, that's the propensity for civilization to end due to AI. At least that's what the
Yeah,
scientific.
yeah.
What led the band to decide on that name?
I don't know. I guess everyone's just into like sci-fi crap, stuff like that. So sounded cool. But yeah, yeah, it didn't have some like crazy like meta kind of meaning.
Right. Okay.
But yeah, it's been going really well. Like Pipe-Eye's about to come out. Ambrose did the thing with Gum, and Heavy Moss Lucas's like side projects coming out. And then we got Babe Rainbow as well.
Oh, Babe Rainbow's on there.
Well, yeah, we kind of just announced that they're going to put out their next record on there.
Excellent.
Yeah, so it's a pretty good roster.
Definitely. So this record comes out, Pipe Defy comes out on October 18th. There's a couple singles out there, a couple videos. Who does your videos? How do you get the video? Because they're always very in the spirit of the band.
Yeah, true. Normally I just have people hit me up, like people who are like fans, and they're just like, "Oh, if you want me to do a video," like Nesby, who did the video for Travertine, he just hit me up on Instagram, and he's like Mexican, but he lives in Italy. So I'd never met him or anything, but he just hit me up. And then Guy Tyzak did Lords of Lithium clip, but he's done a bunch of stuff for Murlocs and Giz, and I've like known him since I was like a teenager and stuff. So that was just an obvious choice.
Mm-hmm. You've got a whole community that kind of raises their hand to help out.
Yeah, definitely. Like I feel like there's definitely less people doing video clips now in that kind of like style, that like real DIY kind of like lo-fi style. Nesby did a great job. So did Guy.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they encapsulated the vibe very well.
Now, is Jason Galea still working with the band?
Oh yeah, 100%.
Okay.
He's like a band member pretty much. Like, yeah, he used to do stuff with other bands as well, but now he just works fully for Giz. He's doing less video clips these days because he kind of doesn't really like doing it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, still all the album artworks, and yeah, he does the posters, a lot of the posters, and he still does live visuals as well. But yeah, he's like pretty much a band member. You know?
Yeah. How involved do you and members of the band get in like poster art or even the vinyl pressing, like splatter these particular colors? How involved do you get in that?
A little bit. Sometimes we'll just get like label people to do it. Or one time I actually picked out a bunch of the Giz ones, but like all the Pipe-Eye stuff, I do all the artwork myself and like pick all that stuff out. But with the posters, Gase just does them, and we're just like, yeah, sweet. We just trust his judgment. Like he's kind of like created the whole band aesthetic anyway from the start, so whatever he wants to do makes sense.
You just give him a
we
list.
Just try not to get too involved.
You give him a list of tour dates. Say, hey, go to work. Here's make 20 posters or whatever
exactly.
those are for.
Yeah, okay. And he just draws them up. Yeah.
So you said you're getting ready to go back to the States. You're doing a few months there, and then back to Australia for several months of R&R, and then recording and Christmas and all that. What does 2025 look for you guys?
We've got a fair bit planned. We're doing like a big like residency tour in Europe, which is going to be cool. Like we're going to do like, I think 5 locations and do like 3 shows in each location, but they're all pretty exotic and they're at cool places. Like, you know, like Roman amphitheaters and like, just like cool, like European kind of places. And then we're doing the States like later in the year, I think. And then we're going to do another European tour as well. But yeah, we got lots planned.
Anything for Australia?
I think so. Yeah. It's been ages since we played there and we feel real bad about that. But yeah, we'll definitely do some shows at some point, maybe like towards the middle of the year.
Okay.
people often complain that we don't play shows in Australia anymore, but yeah, it's just kind of hard because like all our like crew members and like all the infrastructure for our touring rig and stuff kind of lives in like America and Europe now.
Hmm.
So like the tour in Australia, it's almost like obviously we live here, but like we have to bring all our crew over and stuff. It's like an international band touring in Australia, you know?
Right. Well, you guys played plenty of shows here in the early days, so
Yeah, exactly. They've had enough. Yeah.
you're playing Roman amphitheaters, things like that. Is there like a dream gig that you guys have thought about? Something you continue to aspire to do?
I feel like we've done like Red Rocks a bunch now. That's like a fair bucket list venue. Like the Gorge, we've done that. We just did that in America. In Europe, there's like heaps of crazy venues like that, like cool, like old, like yeah, like Roman amphitheaters and like like ancient ruins and stuff that they've converted into venues. But yeah, the bucket list is getting a lot smaller now because we've kind of like played most places. Like, yeah, I don't know. Yeah, we've kind of just done everything. Hey.
Well, it's amazing to watch you guys do it. Like I was lucky enough to get to know the music early enough to at least appreciate you while you still played Australia, and to watch you guys go level to level to level, like you say, Red Rocks and a lot of those locations. Great to see you guys continue to go from strength to strength.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, it's like really, it's just surreal. I don't know. It doesn't ever get, I don't feel jaded or anything by it either.
Mhm.
Like, it's still just as exciting as it was like 10 years ago.
What is a surreal moment you had recently? Something you just like, oh my God, what? How did this happen?
Well, we just did the Gorge in like Washington State. That was pretty surreal because that venue's amazing, obviously, with like the big like canyon behind it and stuff.
Hmm.
Yeah, and there was like almost like 20,000 people there. That was like very bizarre. Getting that many people to just be at like your own show is like, yeah, it's cray cray.
Singing your own words back to you.
Yeah. To go from like, because it's been such a slow burn over like the last like 10 years, to go from playing like to 100 people max in a lot of those American cities,
Hmm.
playing to like 10,000 plus now. Just wild.
Mm. Do you guys have the albums or music already done that you're going to release in 2025?
Nah, we're still working on stuff, which is probably what we'll work on over this kind of like Christmas break.
Hmm.
We'll probably have to have it finished by like early next year. But yeah, we got a couple things in the works.
How quick is the turnaround? Like if you finish something on December 31st, how quickly is it that you guys can generally have it out?
Pretty quick because we've got like P-Doom, which is like our own label. So like the turnaround for things is always like pretty like seamless because we're setting all the deadlines ourselves. It's really just like vinyl production and like stuff like that
Mm-hmm.
is the only like stepping stone really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it can be pretty quick. Like you can probably finish an album and then have it out like 3 months later.
That all sounds very exciting. The rest of 2024 and into 2025, I want to remind folks that October 18th, this Friday, Cookie's coming out. His moniker Pipe-Eye is coming out with the new album Pipe Defy. You can pick up a copy at pdoomrecords.com. You could also go to your streaming services right now and download a couple of singles and set yourself up to get the whole album on the day of its release. There's a couple videos out as well, Travertine and Lords of Lithium out there. And it really is quite amazing watching the whole evolution of, the different bands you're in. It feels to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, but Pipe-Eye is almost like a palate cleanser between a lot of your other projects. Is that fair? How do you see it?
That's a really good way of putting it, I think. Because, like I work on stuff with King Gizzard and Murlocs, but then in between, like I'll often have like these song ideas or like, just ideas that I have for like albums that I can kind of turn into like Pipe-Eye projects.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like always inherently very me.
Yeah.
And, like other stuff I do with like Giz and Murlocs, it's always influenced by like the other band members, which is great. But it's nice to do something where it's just purely you know?
Yeah. Swim in Lake Cookie.
Yeah, exactly. Swimming in my own lake.
All right. Well, hope to see you live soon, whether in the States, Australia, or someplace in between.
Yeah, we're going to be everywhere. Well, I will anyway. Yeah. Thanks, Seth. Thanks for having me. Catch you later. Enjoy the rest of the day. Bye.
There he is, Mr. Cook Craig. Pipe-Eye, Pipe-Defy. It's out now. Set up your streaming services to download the album. Of course, if you're in the US or Europe, look for tour dates from King Gizzard and or the Murlocs. Of course, if you're in Australia, you can look as well. Just keep your fingers crossed. And again, you could order the Pipe-Defy album at pdoomrecords.com. And that's it for this episode of The Vinyl Guide. Thank you so much for tuning in. Appreciate all of you who are sharing these episodes in Reddit forums and Facebook groups. Of course, sharing them across social media. And of course, those of you who are leaving positive reviews on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, well, there's a special place in heaven for you. We'll be back shortly with a brand new episode. So until we talk next time, get out there and buy some records, people. Cheers.